1963 TR6 650. Fresh off a Bobby Sullivan restore. It's a cool day here in the mighty metropolis of Marnie, Iowa. We've had a lot of, well, yesterday we had a little slickness out, so they put a bunch of sand down. So we're going to take it a little easy here. Oh, feels good. Feels good. Shifters on the right side, 1 down, 3 up. Look at all the sand on the road here. By gosh, by golly. Loads of torque. Just loads of torque. Very windy day. You can see the leaves blowing across the way. Chronometric gauges, Smith gauges. I'm going to tell you, like I always do, there's a guy just down the road. He can rebuild these. He can put new innards in them, recalibrate them, print new faces for them. He can recrimp them. He's got a machine to do that. Beautiful, beautiful work. Oh, this feels good. The bars feel different on this one. A little wider, maybe a little lower. The back brake works. It's got a single leading shoe front brake, as it should in 1963. 63 was the first year of the unit engine. That means the transmission and the engine are all one piece. Prior to that, they were separate. Oh, it's got a good sound. These old bikes, I love the way they sound. I have no mirrors, so we're just gonna have to wing it here and hope for the best. I like it. Boy, what a nice thing. The bike's got to warm up. The transmission's still a little bit stiff. Oh, it sounds good. Next time you're all in the mighty metropolis of Marnie, Iowa, stop right there at the Derailed Grill. I'm going to take some risk here and do a spin. Like I said, no mirrors. Right here at the Derailed Grill, make sure you get yourself a, sand everywhere, get yourself a Wahoo burger. She's really coming to life now that she's warming up. Wow, great day for a bike ride. Hey, we got a little traffic, by golly. That rarely happens in Marnie, does it? Marnie is a little town about the size of a postage stamp. On a good day, there's about 100 people here. On a busy day, there's maybe 150, 160. What a great bike. I love, they're so light, you know. They got about, I don't know, 42 to 48 horsepower. They probably weigh in the mid 300s, 325, 350. That's probably with a full tank of juice. Drum brakes, front and rear, telescopic forks, dual shocks on the back end. Well, we'll come back over here and stop and take a good look at this thing. Oh, it sounds so good. Hope you all can hear that. That's the motorcycle park on the right side there. It will spin the tire. Horn works. I like it. So the headlights on these bikes, they did not have to be on back in the day. So the headlight switch, it actually has a switch is on the key. And the first D10 I think puts it, I think how it goes is it puts it on a road light so you don't use so much power. And the second D10 puts it on full. And then there's a high-low switch over here by my left thumb. I don't know if you can see that right there by the horn. Works beautifully, works beautifully. And that's pretty much the whole electronic package. You know, it's got a taillight, of course, no blinkers. Choke must be on the carburetor on this bike. Look at that, it's got a really nifty, I don't know if you can see that, parcel pack on the tank. Beautiful day for a ride around town. Absolutely gorgeous day. Oh yeah, take it easy, take it easy. There is the big house on the hill. To our right, we are in East Marnie right now, and to our right is an open field. Check it out. And we have gone from East Marnie to North Marnie. How about that, huh? Pea gravel everywhere. Always great for motorcycle riding. Oh, these things handle so well. So you sit on top of the bike. You really feel like you're sitting on top of it. The bars are down low. I am bent forward a little bit, but the bars reach back so far that my elbows are almost by my side. My knees and my hips feel about the same height, and my heels are definitely behind my knees, and I would say almost to, you know, closer to my buttocks than they would be to my knees. So it's really quite a bend, although it feels pretty darn comfortable. How does it handle? To push these things around a garage or parking lot, it's a snap. Very low center of gravity. You know, very lightweight motorcycle. Very easy. The hardest thing about pushing one of these around is you have to know where the kickstand is to get it on the side stand. Driving around like a parking lot or something, no problems at all. Again, very easy going, very light. You got to watch your brakes because the brakes are drums, and drums just don't work like a modern disc, you know. Around town like this, lots of fun. I think these old British bikes handle superbly. You know, that was really their key feature, is how light they were. And one of the reasons they were so light, you know, light frame and all that neat stuff, but the engines are so light. And Dirty Shirt Richter on YouTube, if you ever get to his channel, I was in his shop one day, a couple times. I've been to his shop many times actually. He showed me the engines taken apart, and the parts in the engines are super lightweight, small. They're like seashells. They're just very, the engine gets all its strength from being put together. And that's why these motorcycles are so light. You know, everything is just very, you know, very slight. How does that sound? You know, I don't know how much fuel we have in this hot rod, so I think we're going to take it back. Boy, I'm having fun on this one. What a great bike. The more you ride it, the better it runs, you know. So how about the highway? Riding it on the highway, I've had these on the highway before. They're fun. They get a little bit buzzy at the higher speeds, but they're not too bad. You know, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, they're great. You can go all day on that. I would like to take one and put 100 miles on. I've never done that. That'd be a lot of fun, I think. Interstate, I've never had one on the interstate. I can't answer that question. Not sure how that works out. They feel like they have plenty of power. Like I said, they're in the 300s for weight, and they are 40 to 50 horsepower, somewhere in there. So I would say they run pretty darn well. Let's take it in here, park it, and get the other camera out and see what we can learn. Boy, we got a traffic jam going on here. It is a windy day today, a very windy day. I'm trying to escape the wind. I'll run back here. All right, my friends, Wahoo. Well, that was a fun ride. Check that little hot rod out. Every little piece of it glistening, absolutely shiny. Like I said, fresh off a restore. What is it, Bobby Sullivan, I think? But look at this. Everything is just sparkling. It's so new it doesn't even have oil in the engine yet, by golly. That's a coming though, right? So 650 engine, you can tell by the angled heads here. The unit engine, it's got the cone on the front. Unit means the engine and transmission are one piece, one unit. You can tell by this gap here, this distance here, between the shifter and the kicker, that this is a 650. That's another one of the traits. Just in the little fins up here in the head. The earlier ones didn't have that. External oil lines right there. This is how you adjust the valves right here. So 2-cylinder parallel twin, air cooled of course. You know, 2 valves per cylinder. So exhaust valve, intake valve over here. Single carburetor. That looks like a monoblock. Yeah, that's got a monoblock. Big old monoblock. Check that out. Isn't that neat? Usually they're concentrics. Let's shut the fuel off while we're at it. So while I'm thinking about it, this little thing here, I think when the motor's running, that pops out and that lets you know you have oil pressure. Look at that. Isn't that just, everything is so clean on this yet. It's just so new yet. What an absolutely beautiful piece of art. It's a dry sump engine. Here's the oil tank. So the tank, there's 2 pumps. There's a scavenge pump at the bottom of the engine, takes the oil that's fallen, pumps it into the tank. That feeds a line that goes to the back of a pressure pump. The pressure pump pumps the pressurized oil to the critical parts of the engine, including the head. I'm guessing that the oil that falls into the head through these lines comes down through the these push rod tubes back into the case, down at the bottom, then they get scavenged again. This is called the timing chest. There's a cam here and a cam here. The points are on this cam. This bike might have electronic ignition, I didn't ask. So the crankshaft center is here. There's a gear here and a gear here that run, each one runs a cam. The cam runs the 2 push rods that run up through each tube. Really neat. I just love these. They're so organic, you know. They're just such an organic design. Just look at that. Beautiful thing. Just an absolutely beautiful thing. Just gorgeous. Clutches on this side. There are the clutch baskets right there. So there's a chain that runs from here to here on the inside. This is the tach drive right here. It's a mechanical tachometer. Runs off of here up to the back of the tach. The speedo, I think on these, I don't know where the speedo is on these. It's not on the rear. Let's follow the cable. I think this is the speedo cable. Let's go to the transmission right here. There's the little cable. 4-speed transmission, 1 down, 3 up. I love the transmissions on these. The end of the year is coming. I'm working on a video for, you know, the best bikes that I rode this year, and it's hard to choose a best classic British motorcycle. And you know, this is one of the amazing motorcycles from that era, and it's just, you know, so's that Northern Commando over there, and you know, they got a Vincent around here somewhere and a couple of Villa sets, so it's really hard to pick, but something like this is just right, you know, right close to the top of the list. So it's probably a 19-inch tire on the front, big old single leading shoe, brake, a little bit warm. So those are fins right there for cooling, on spokes of course. Look at that paint, just beautiful. So silver, gold pinstripe, purple line right through there. Jumping up here, you know, it's got this gorgeous, there's a name for this style of cover, and I don't know what it is, but you know, it's chrome with black on the inside, and it looks like the letters are actually in gold. That's interesting. And of course the chrome goes all the way to the forward. That divides these purple from the silver on the bottom. Triumph knee pads right there. Look at that. Aren't those beautiful? Parcel rack, of course. The strip down the center, and then of course the famous flat gas cap. Tank bolts down in the back. Just beautiful. I'm guessing these are Girling shocks. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm guessing they are. Adjustable for preload on the bottom. Check that out. Isn't that beautiful in the back? I just, like I said, these bikes to me are pure art, you know? Just pure art. Here's underneath the seat. Look at that. Wow. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Batteries under there. Oil tank top. Just well done. Very well done. Just do that to close it, and then it latches to open it. You just pull that out. Like I said, these are art to me. Look at the swoop on the fender at the bottom. You know, it's got this neat little swoop at the very bottom. Comes down, swoops out. You know, the raised rib for the center. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. You know, when I see a bike like this, I see the engineers, the designers. You know, they're all just a couple offices apart. The guy that draws up the blueprints, you know, the guy that thinks it up, all those people are working in the same building. They drop a blueprint, they take it down to the mold maker looks at it and says, hey, you can't do this, or if we do this it'll be better, and then he takes the mold to the metal guy looks at it and says, if we do this, do that, you know. And they come up with this very organic engine. I call it organic because it's all from the mind, you know. There's no computer involved. There's a lot of work to do something like this. Look at this intake. So single carburetor. Look at the little manifold right there, nice and warm. Just a beautiful bike. You know, look at all this detail. Fender goes all the way down to here. You know, these pea shooter pipes, adjusters right there for the chain. I always go on about the brakes, don't I? You know, mechanical brake on the rear end, inside of the sprocket hub. Here's the adjuster right here. You twist this little rocket shaped thing here to do that. The electronics for the, when I push on the brake pedal, look at this here. That was the micro electronics of the day back then. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous thing. I love it. Oh, what a privilege it is to ride. Horn button, clutch lever right there. Now there's a stamp lever with a ball on the end. Same here. Fuel right there. High-lows right here, you know, a dampener in the middle. I've never had to use a dampener, so I'm not really sure how that works. Over here we've got an amp gauge to let you know if the battery's discharging or charging. Beautiful machine, beautiful machine. Now, if you all are interested in a bike like this, a newer used Triumph, Royal Enfield, classic British bike of any type, need parts, accessories, thingamajigs, doodads, parts of any kind. They are the largest vintage British bike. Say that 3 times fast. They are the largest British vintage part supplier, the largest vintage British motorcycle part supplier in North America. If they don't have, you're gonna have trouble finding it. Get a hold of these guys, Baxtercycle. Go to baxtercycle.com. They can help you out there. They've got gear, they've got jackets, they've got, you know, everything you could possibly need. Get a hold of Randy if you're interested in one of these vintage bikes. Get a hold of Jeremy and Mark if you want something newer. And you know, it's a windy day here, and I think I'm gonna go for another bike ride. If it's a nice day where y'all are at, get out there and ride, my friends. Life is good. Wahoo!
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa!